Peace of the Lord be with you. This is the Son of the Most Sorrowful YouTube channel. And friendship with the world equals enmity with God. It's a verse in James chapter 4, verse 4, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So what does that actually mean, right? Because we live in the world, and so shouldn't we strive to be beings of peace, right? What it's talking about actually, it's being countercultural and denouncing the ways of the world. You know what I mean? Like in Southern California, I feel like without getting into details, there's a lot more that is taught in public schools that has no business being in public schools. Public schools should just be academic environments where students go to learn just that, academics. And there's all this extra stuff that is really not necessary for them to be learning. But that is the direction that the world wants to take them. You know what I mean? It is also of the world to normalize the divorce or to marry multiple times in a lifetime. You know what I mean? It's also of the world to choose whether or not to honor the birth of a child. You know what I mean? After, you're made aware that you're expecting. So that's the thing, man. To have friendship with the world is to condone these things, is to be passive about the state of the world in regards to these things, right? Because these things are detrimental to the kingdom of God on earth. And they promote evil on earth and corruption as well. So having friendship with the world means that we're not conforming to the way that God wants us to live. We're actually conforming with the ways of culture, with the ways that are popular, with what is being taught in popularity and being received like commonly. So that's the thing, man. And for me, when I started to get a sense that things are wrong in the world, right? That we've gone away from how good things used to be. Like I hear that a lot more than ever. Like it's not just a nostalgia thing, but it's like, man, back in the day things were not so corrupt, or it's an acknowledgement that things were pure at that time, more pure. And so observing that naturally, I feel like a lot of young people are growing in the desire to take things back to how they were. And you can see that in the growth of the popularity of homesteading. And I saw a YouTube channel where a young man actually built his own house with the help of his dad. You know what I mean? And they were going to get the plywood that became the walls. They built the frame of the house with just a hammer, nails, and a saw. And like they came and they established the level foundation of the house with levels and all that. And it took them a couple months, but from scratch, man, a whole house with roofing and insulation and electricity and everything. So I think that's a really amazing thing, is that we're seeing that the ways of the world are failing in real time, year after year after year. It just seems to become more and more obvious that that's not the direction that we should be taking things as a species of people. You know what I mean? Because we were not designed for such things. We were not designed to bask in the ways of the world and to like be so carefree and liberalistic. We were not designed to live in a departure from the things that our Creator has taught us. And so, if you're going to be a person of faith, if you're going to proclaim to know Jesus, it's very important that you come to that decision to not participate, to unplug from the matrix. You know what I mean? To say like, hey, you know what, this is wrong, and it may cost me my family, it may cost me my friends, it may cost me my reputation, but I will not participate. And so for me personally, one thing that helped me at the time that I was starting to do stuff like that, and this was before I went into the faith, I was vegan for like 3-4 years. I went vegan initially to 180 my health, but it had a lot of really amazing benefits. For me, the fact that I was no longer constantly digesting meat or eating a lot of processed foods, because I was just eating vegetables and like legumes, beans and lentils and tofu and things like that. I wasn't eating a lot of processed vegan food. I wasn't doing the vegan cheese. I wasn't doing the vegan yogurts. I was doing plant milk here and there. But I wasn't doing processed vegan food. So I felt like I experienced an awakening of my senses. I became more aware of the corruption of the world and like what your life can be like when your body isn't distracted from like, you know, I was basically not drinking the Kool-Aid anymore, right? And it was more difficult was the fact that people were just like, oh man, like you can't eat this, you can't eat that. It was kind of crazy because people were more upset for me, or they were frustrated over the fact that I couldn't eat certain things. A lot of what they were eating, it was frustrating for them more than it was for me. I had kind of already accepted my fate, and I was just like, okay, well, it's all right. I'll just wait till I get home and cook something. Or I would eat a lot before going out. But as a Mexican American, it's not to everybody's liking that you're vegan. They really feel put off by it, and so getting a lot of I don't want to say heat, but dealing with that constant like friction of being vegan, of being different because of what I was already different as a person, but I was now even more different and set apart because now my diet is totally different. And I wasn't doing it for animal rights either. I was purely for health reasons. I realized like, man, I'm never gonna have diabetes, man. I'm never gonna have heart problems because I'm so healthy all the time. And I had so much more energy. I didn't have that feeling of I need to sit and digest my food, or sleep or nap, or after you eat like a big steak. It's that what happened to me a lot. So that really helped me like fight for, because I was very persistent and determined to remain vegan for the rest of my life. I'm no longer vegan. I started doing chicken and eggs and fish, and I still don't do meat, or I still don't do beef or pork. I do some dairy. I don't do a lot of dairy. I'm still for the most part lactose intolerant. So but I'm not vegan anymore. I got to a point where it was causing like an imbalance in my life, in regards to myself, in regards to having a more I don't know. You don't want to. It's kind of crazy because I don't want to sound weird, but it's like it really hurt my ability to relate to people. And I speak a lot about not conforming. I'm speaking now about not conforming to the world. It wasn't about conforming. I think it really drove me to a superiority over people, because I was really proud of doing this really difficult thing that it was very challenging constantly for me. But I got used to it. And I felt like because I got used to it, I tapped into like a secret way of life that the people around me like couldn't access or whatever. So you gotta be very careful with like the pride aspect of doing stuff like that, or mortifying yourself to the point where it makes you prideful. So my point was, that was one doorway into being countercultural. And so when I got into the faith, and you start to read the gospel and you start to experience the power of the promises of Christ, it becomes a lot easier to believe what you're reading, and it makes God more real in your life, because he's actually working through you. He's working in you, and he's showing you that what he's talking about is real. It's not just something that's in a book. It's or that was once said to be forgotten. It really is powerful when you experience the promises of Christ and you don't want to look back anymore. So experiencing that and experiencing the joy that it was to have God in my life really didn't make sense to be striving or living for material things anymore. Or if that's what people wanted to do, I felt like I had already explored that to the degree that I needed to, in order to say, like, you know what, I'm done with that. I've already done that. You know what I mean? I've already been to the movies. I've already gone to restaurants. I've already been to concerts. I've been backstage. I've already, maybe not at like, again, there's levels to the thing, because you haven't been backstage. I haven't been backstage like at the biggest stages of the world, right? But I don't have to. It's really, it's not that different. What I mean to say is that in its essence, in what it actually is, and for what it is, it's not different. It's just has a different appearance. It looks different to your senses, and it feels probably different in a lot of ways. But in its essence, it's not different from what it is in its most basic form and in its greatest form. Whether it's entertainment, whether it's fine dining, whether it's experiences, whether it's like staying at expensive hotels or traveling, you know what I mean? People think that because you haven't had a beer in Germany doesn't mean that, like, maybe you've had a German beer in the US, but it doesn't mean, it's nothing like how when you have a beer in Germany. It's like, again, in essence, it's not really different. It's gonna feel different to your senses, but in what it is, a fleshly experience, it's not really something to marvel at, or to put in X amount of hours to seek to have just that, which is a beer in Germany. And a beer in Germany is just, it can be whatever you want. It can be dancing with the girls in Hawaii, or it can be, who knows, man. The world has many pleasures and many temptations that are constantly calling out to us. So basically, to me, I was just like, man, it's just a waste of time. It feels like a waste of time in regards to like advancing spiritually, getting to know God on a deeper level. It doesn't feel productive to me, because I have already done it. I've already lost myself in it. So that Bible verse, James 4:4, ye adulterers and adulteresses, don't you know that having friendship with the world is to be an enemy of God? Therefore, those who are friends with the world are enemies of God. You know what I mean? It's really to put it into clear words, and it's a very intentional warning. It's like, hey, don't get lost in the world. Don't make yourself an enemy of God. Don't stray away from the narrow path, because that's basically what you're doing. You know what I mean? At your own risk, right? Everyone's free to do as they please. No one's going to judge anybody. There are those who judge. Are they correct? No. I'm nobody to judge. I went out and I indulged for many years. That's the only way I know, you know, because I was too stubborn to learn from other people's examples. But I had to go find out for myself where that path would lead. So I just really, having been there myself, I don't recommend it. I recommend just following God, man. Following the scriptures. The Lord's promises are amazing and beautiful. And you'll live a much peaceful life. It is those who are free from the wants and desires of, you know, having the world and the world's offerings, they have a peace that it can't be bought. So I think about that kind of stuff whenever, you know, I'm struggling like with temptation, or where I want to actually like take a break from spiritual things, go to a bar, go to a concert, get refreshed. And it's like, that's not how that works, you know? So yeah, man, let's not be enemies of God. Let's just be nice and obedient children of the Lord. But yeah, this has been the Son of the Most Sorrowful. And I pray in Jesus' mighty name that the peace of the Lord be always with you by the intercession of Our Lady of Sorrows. I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll see you guys at the next one. God bless you.